Good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Ask the Doc call. If you'd like, you can type where you're tuning in from in the chat group. We'd love to hear from you. We'll wait to see if our esteemed Dr. Mark is on here. Just going to get us streaming here on Facebook. I'll be with you just momentarily. And we will get
Okay, there we are.
Okay. Bear with me, folks. I'm just trying to find Dr. Mark here. Make sure he's not having any trouble logging on. Okay, Dr. Mark just said he's going to be a couple minutes here, so we'll just wait till a few minutes here. And we have Pennsylvania, Valerie, Fenwick, Ontario, Tiverton, Ontario, Margaret from Nova Scotia, welcome. Heather Lemke from Ottawa Valley, nice to see you here today. Claire from Black Falls, Alberta. We have Kimberly Galbraith from Waterloo. Nice to see you, Kim. Valerie Minnis from Southern California. Welcome, Valerie. Karen from Fort Francis, Northwestern Ontario. Greg Knapp from Guelph. Darlene Neufeld. Welcome, Darlene. Sarasota, Florida. Dee Cashman. Nice to see you on here, Dee. Coburg, Ontario. David McElveen from snowy Ireland today. Nice to see you on here, David. We're getting the warm weather, and now you guys are getting our snow.
Yeah, we got a mixed bag here.
Yeah.
Sunshine 1 minute, snow the next.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. What else we got here? Coach Gord is on from Elmont, Ontario. Gord, good to see you. Yeah, I'm just going to ask people to be very, very mindful of your mute buttons, please. So when Dr. Mark comes on here, if you're eating or drinking or whatever, just make sure you put yourself on mute. I can override it from here, but it's just respectful to make sure that you're on mute if you're not on mute.
That's nice, actually. You want to listen to this one?
Okay. All right. So we've got lots of questions today. Lots of people have emailed in. We got some exciting questions to present Dr. Mark with, and those of you that have been on a call before with Dr. Mark, it is very, very exciting and very, very encouraging when you have somebody so knowledgeable that can come on the call and help us all understand and learn how to present this technology in a way, because we're not all doctors, and it's sometimes tough to present. And with something like this, where it is, technical, it's nice to learn certain ways and certain techniques to present. I also want to send out a reminder to everybody on this call that on Thursday, this Thursday coming up, we have an event going on that is our wearable neurotech and hockey. Now, we're making it specific to hockey because we Canadians, I mean, that's our game. That's our game here in Canada. But it's not to say that our technology isn't fantastic for every other sport out there. But this is specific. We got some great guests coming up on this call. So if you're on the team page, if you're an associate here, you're on the team page, we ask that you copy and paste the link in private messages. Don't put it out on Facebook on your personal walls. But we welcome everybody on the call to come in and learn about how this technology is I guess taking a dent into the hockey world, because as my good pal and teammate Kevin Duguay and I have always said, that there will be a day when athletes will be conspicuous by their absence of not wearing this. And we're getting there, and you guys are all an integral part of this. And so we're really, really excited to have this presentation done by a teammate out of Northern Ireland, Jose Williamson, who's one of Heather Lemke's teammates, well, one of all of our teammates, actually, because we are #1team. But this presentation was the sort of the culmination of a few minds getting together and then putting it into action and setting up. So we invite everybody to go on that call and learn about how some of these hockey players, including the president of the Los Angeles Kings, Luc Robitaille, how he has said that he wished he found this stuff a lot earlier when he was playing in his competitive days. But for those young hockey players that are playing, it's going to make them a safer hockey player. It's going to reduce the risk of injury if we can improve balance, strength, range of motion, and so on. We're going to make them a safer and an improved hockey player. So I invite you all to go on that call. And then tomorrow evening at 8:30, we have I have a guest host coming on, Carla Archer, who I'm sure you're all familiar with. And our trainer for tomorrow is the amazing, wonderful, and beautiful Heather Lemke. She is going to talk about, she is the duplication diva, I understand is what your new handle is. It's the duplication diva. So that's exciting. Now, you don't have to have a Zoom link for this call. Carla is going to be doing this on StreamYard. But you just go to the team page and you'll see that it's gone. It'll go live right in the great point, Pat. That training is tonight, not tomorrow night. I got my next mixed up here. It is tonight at 8:30. So thanks for that. So I look forward to seeing everybody. If you get on the call, that would be great. Jan Crawford, you have your hand up. Can I help you with something?
Yes, I just wanted to ask about the hockey Zoom call. I know it's at 2:00 in the afternoon, but where will it, or 3:00, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people who are interested will be working. So where will it exist after it's done? I'm assuming it's being recorded.
Yes, we will record it, and it'll be placed in the guides tab. Under
okay.
calls in the Team Vaccination Facebook group.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Right,
thank you.
For your inquiry. Okay.
How do I mute my?
There, I got you. I got you. Let me see if I can find Dr. Mark.
I can unmute myself if I find it better.
There he is. There he is. I'm going to just put us on speaker view. Welcome, Dr. Mark. Great to have you here.
Good to be here.
We've got lots of questions today. So we're going to have to pound this out. So without further delay, I'd like to welcome our Vice President of Clinical Strategies, a very dear friend of mine, a friend of all of us associates out there, who does a wonderful job of helping us have our questions answered, helping us to present in a more logical way. And we're just delighted, as always, to have you here, Dr. Mark. So welcome to our call this week.
Thank you, Terry. Always a pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, let's get right into it. Okay, so one of the first questions I have is obviously from somebody relatively new or very new, and we don't need to name names, but the thing is, what the H is brain mapping and what does it do? So I think that we can say, hey, what is QEEG? What is brain mapping? And what does it tell you when you look at somebody's brain, Dr. Mark?
Well, thanks for that, Terry. So QEEG is a quantitative electroencephalograph, and it's just a way of us recording actual neural activity in the brain to determine what are you doing, what are you capable of doing, and really what's your true potential. The data that we can get is truly unbelievable. So if you actually had a head trauma and went to the hospital, there's 5 different things that they're going to do to determine what's going on in your brain. Usually they take an x-ray first to make sure you didn't fracture your skull. Then they'll do an MRI to look for any tears or lesions. And then they'll do a CAT scan to make sure you're not bleeding out somewhere. They might do a functional MRI to look at blood flow through the brain. And then they're going to do a QEEG. And so the QEEG is we put microphones all around the head, and it's recording thousands of neural synapses every 100th of a second and building a 3D image of the brain's actual neurology. It really is probably one of the most important tests that we do for the brain because it's the only one that's actually telling us what our brain is doing. Now, we have infant caps, so they can be brain mapped right when they're born, all the way to any age. I've had over 100-year-olds that actually have more beautiful brains than some of the 50-year-olds I map. But inevitably, once we have that data, we can look at the cortex, which is the outside of the brain, and that's the part of the brain that we think, feel, and do. It's how we're basically experiencing our world. And then below the surface of the brain is the white matter, and that's processing over 400 million bits of data per second, and it's running all the networks, your anxiety network, your executive function network, your ADD network. And so there's a couple hundred different networks we can look at to determine which parts of the brain, maybe are the worst. And what does that mean for that individual neurologically? Because each part of the brain controls a very specific function. So once we do a brain map, it's much like taking an x-ray. I can see your bones. You can't hide your bones from an x-ray. Well, you can't hide your brain from the brain map. So we see what's going on neurologically, and then we can assess over time what's happened to our brain. And the cells that make up your brain and your spinal cord are the same cells you're born with, and they're the same cells you're going to die with. So they only got one shot, and then that's all we have. The rest of our body is constantly replacing the cells and remodeling itself. So we didn't even know that you could grow new brain tissue until 2008. And so now it's like game on. Let's go for those targeted weakest areas of our brain and grow tissue there. And then with that, fast forward a few more years into the introduction of Vox Life. Now we know that Vox Life is creating neuroplasticity on a slow basis consistently. So the longer you're wearing these socks, it's as if you're brain training and actually improving your neurology. Otherwise, just the stresses of the day and the life and the bombardment of chemicals and electricity and EMF and all the different things that we're exposed to, our cells are under attack and they're under chaos. And your brain is just trying to survive in essence. And when we can be challenged and targeted and targeted meaning our Vox Life's targeting the brainstem, which opens that up. Now wherever that rest of that neurology is going to go, it's going to go to the weakest part of our brain. And that's evident over 7,000 brain maps. It happens every single time. The technology doesn't know how to go find that part of your brain. Your own intelligence and innate intelligence knows exactly how to do that. We're basically opening up all the front doors and letting everybody in, and when we can have more people get from the stadium to the parking lot more efficiently, then the communication in our body works much the same way. When we can open up more doors to allow traffic to flow through, our lives are enhanced and our intelligence knows exactly where we need healing. It just needs more help. And so this is a way of giving us more help. So I know that was a long-winded answer for brain mapping, but
It's actually a great answer because it leads into, one of the questions that we have that, said that you can actually determine sort of what is malfunctioning in the brain. And then from reading the scans and reading the brain mapping issues, would it then be feasible for us to recommend which box technology might be best to use? And I know we've always talked about starting out with HPT always, but will the brain mapping give you issues of saying, maybe it's the HPT in combination with, maybe the CBT or the Neurovac or something like that?
I don't really like the way that question's worded. We can use brain mapping to validate the change that's happening with our tech, but the tech works on everybody, healthy and unhealthy. And so the first tech that affects the majority of the brain is the HPT. Now, granted, I can do a brain map and I'll show you on probably 8 out of 10 people that the Brodmann areas that are most dysregulated on somebody is 1, 2, 3, or 4. They're usually always showing up on the list. And so that would be brainstem. Those are the first 4 Brodmann areas, first part of our brain that's developed. And then we put the tech on, and then those 4 areas are off the chart completely because they're fine now. And then different areas roll up to the top. So I wouldn't be going and targeting necessarily your appetite center and your thymus, your spleen, Brodmann area 24, 25 for your gut-brain connection. I can almost guarantee you if I look at just those factors on everybody, they're gonna have some dysregulation. We put the tech on, those areas get better within usually an hour, depending on which tech it is. So we could do a targeted brain map just to look at that network or that region, a cognitive network for the eSmarter, and see, yeah, you're not optimal here. You got lines in here. So you could choose to be more optimal by this tech. And so I think not so much looking at take a brain map to determine what I should use, determine what you should use based on how important your health is to you. And so if my nervous system, if I get that's really the most important system in my body, then by all means, why would I ever take the HPT off my body? This, on the healthiest person to the sickest person, is going to enhance their neurology by 30%. So this is just a game changer for everybody on the planet. There's no reason why we shouldn't have that. Unfortunately, a lot of people need to see the proof of a brain map for them to realize, oh my gosh, I'm never taking these off again. Some people need to be tilted and see how much stronger they have to realize, hey, it's actually doing something. I'll admit that. And so for that being important to me, 100% of the time, HPT's on. Now, the second thing that's super important to me, and it's not just because heart disease may run in my family, but the blood. My blood and the function of your blood is everything. Life is in the blood. So if you cherish your blood and want it to function as best as it possibly could, by all means, have that Neurovax patch on your arm, because that's helping my blood stay at homeostasis despite all the attacks that I'm getting from the stress and the chemicals in my world. It's helping my body and my immune responses be ultra sharp. Now, originally, when we talked about this product, it was designed for people that have immune compromise or people that are in situations where you're around a lot of people and you want to protect your immune system. So I looked at it as an immune system booster for those special times that need. And then after doing the study and looking at the blood and even my own blood, I realized, gosh, it looks kind of stuck together. I mean, I got some rouleaus going on and I take all the right vitamins and I eat clean and I do so many therapies every day. And how is that my blood? And then all of a sudden I put the Neurovax on and it looks beautiful within an hour. I'm like, okay, this is an immune system regulator. This is going to stay on me all the time. I absolutely get it. I want my blood to be able to respond to any invaders as quick as possible and deal with it and get it out of my body as much as possible. Now, as far as the other tech goes, cognition, well, if you're somebody that could use a little help in cognition. Now, it'll help everybody that puts the sleeve on, but if you're somebody that's forgetful, that you have memory issues, or you're trying to read and you're distracted, or you're trying to learn something and you just can't stay on task without feeling like you have to go spin other plates, then wear that tack, okay? It's based on lifestyle for this one. If you just put the eSmarter sleeve on and then don't engage in anything cognitive, it doesn't help you. It's not going to grow tissue in the area if you're not using the nerves. So cognition is a motivation thing, and it's at my will. I'm going to choose to focus right now. And so when we can remove a bunch of barriers to allow me to have that focus better, maybe I'm a musician, maybe I'm an athlete, maybe I'm an artist, and I need to get in the zone, and it only comes every now and then, and I'm not in the zone, and I'm just sitting here and it's a blank canvas, nothing's happening. You put that sleeve on, all of a sudden the connections start happening, your cognition starts waking up, and then as you're engaging in something, you're going to absolutely see and feel the proof. Now, sleep, well, that's an easy one to play with. Either you sleep or you don't. If you wake up feeling refreshed and you have good energy throughout the day, those are some signs. But a lot of people toss and turn. In fact, over 53% of the world does not get a good night's sleep every night and has to struggle and do all sorts of different tricks and traits to try to make my brain turn off. Well, we have a solution for those people, and it's called the Rem Patch. This is going to target those sleep centers that are allowing you to cycle through your light, your deep, your REM sleep, letting your body and your brain remodel and do all the healing. It's so important. 75% of all the new cells that are going to happen in one day, one 24-hour period, happen during those 3 hours of deep and REM sleep. And so we have a solution for people that just don't get that consistent sleep. And that's a simple enough patch that you put on and then take off in the morning and disregard. And then, of course, we have weight loss, which a lot of people struggle with that. This is a solution to help target the part of your brain that regulates your metabolism. So it's going to increase your calories that you're burning every day without increasing your heart rate or making you jitter. And so that is another wonderful tool that we have for people that have just kind of plateaued and they're trying to get another little bit of weight loss off. And then finally, we have our Boomi Socks, and these are just truly remarkable. It's elevated mind technology. And this just helps target the areas that control your moods. And so we're looking at both ends of the spectrum, from the stresses and anxieties to the sadness and the depression and the blues. It just helps your brain produce and regulate all the happy hormones, your serotonin and your dopamine and your endorphins and all of that. And so these are happy socks, I call them. I mean, that's what, I'm not sure if we're supposed to call them that or not, but everybody that we did the study on that one for just really acknowledged the fact that they really do feel like they have a little extra pickup in their step today. So
yeah, I haven't been able to get my hands on any yet that fit me. So there's only extra small. So I'm watching I'm watching with COVID and shipping and ship stuck in the Suez Canal and like who knows? Like
yeah.
I'm sure that Jay's doing his best and the team at corporate are doing their best to.
Well, I'm not going to show that study until we actually have full inventory, because then people will go crazy wanting it even more.
I totally agree. Now, we've talked about the Neurovax, and I'm so much in agreement with you, and that is with the HPT and the Neurovax. That's my 1-2 punch every single day that I find imperative to wear. And we talk about, somebody was asking a question about blood clots. A person has had a blood clot before. They have recovered from their blood clot, but there's a chance that they could get a blood clot again, according to their physician. The question is, would you recommend wearing the Neurovax patch to help prevent this? Now,
again, we're not treating conditions with any of our products, but I want you just to learn to think for yourself about what the product's doing physiologically and then come to your own conclusions. First of all, there is no contraindications for any of our products, which means there's no conditions out there that you have to be worried about. If you put this on, it's going to make your condition worse. Okay, it's going to help your body deal with your condition better. You might not like the way that feels sometimes, but it doesn't mean it's making it worse. Okay, and so when it comes to somebody that is concerned about a blood clot, now we're not talking so much a micro vessel as we're talking a bigger vessel, but the only reason that blood clots happen is when too much blood sticks together to form a bigger blood molecule, in essence, that can't fit through the small vessels. Okay, and so it clogs the dam. And so if we actually have a product that has been proven within an hour of wearing it to open up those clusters of red blood cells that are just staying stuck together, that would be the culprit of the blood not functioning well, it would make sense that if we can open up the function of the blood, it can deal with the cholesterol or the debris or the clots or whatever it is that's happening. And the white blood cells are doing the best of their ability in 65,000 miles of vessels, I may add, to make that not happen. And so I have more faith in working with the intelligence that's regulating our blood flow than to think I need something from the outside in to go right to that specific spot, that I think that that's actually going to happen and affect that. Now, granted, there is a time and a place for intervention in all those means, but we have a solution here that will prevent the majority of people from wearing it from ever having an incident. So then why wouldn't we wear it? And that incident could be a blood related issue. It could be a fall related issue. It could be another organ or tissue, or physiology type related issue. Again, we're not treating the issues. We're trying to teach you how to be the best you can be, how to optimize yourself so you can experience your best quality of life. The best years are yet to come when you learn to tap into that fountain of youth, in essence, and reverse the clock a little bit and get our neurology behaving like it did when we were much younger, more free and more agile and less pain and slept better and all of that. It's never too late to return to those places. And so, that's the good news, that we have a product that can help take you there. And it's so inexpensive. Literally, the entire world can afford it. They just don't know about it yet. And so that's why we need people like you guys to share the good news and put this technology on a billion people. That's what it's going to take for us to truly have a major impact in our healthcare model and the way that we look at health as sickness care rather than health care. We wait for the problems to happen and then treat the problem rather than, be proactive about doing things to optimize my life so I never get to that point. It's strictly choices that we're making. And we have some amazing tools that will help you make the easiest choice to make every day is put your socks on. Okay, that's something that most people are doing anyway, whether they were high-tech socks or not. But that's literally all it takes to start the therapy. I mean, I do 3 hours of therapy every single morning just to maintain, my ability to give and love and serve and go and do. And this is the easiest therapy I do. I just put my socks on, slap my patch out. That one's checked off. All the other ones take a lot of time. But this has definitely made it into that inner circle in my life, as meaning these are the things that I do daily that I deem necessary for my survival, for my optimal health, for the future version of myself. I'd rather have better neurology making those 3,000 new cells. I'm sorry, 3 billion new copies of my DNA to find the one that's the best. That makes it into the new cell. That takes a lot of intelligence to create that much work just to copy a single cell. You guys think it's just, copy, paste, copy, paste. I do that on my computer, Control V, Control C, bounce back and forth. It's not copy, paste. You're making 3 billion copies to decide what's the best one. And a lot of times it'll find one after you start wearing Vox that'll be like, I haven't seen one like this in 12 years. Where's this coming from? This is great. Let's keep this going. Let's get the next version of this person, right around the corner. And we're going to do that by being consistent. This isn't just a Tuesday, Thursday when I play soccer thing. I'm going to put my tech on. This is, if I care about my health and my life, I'm going to take care of myself first, 24/7. Then I'm going to turn around and take care of my family and my friends and the people that are in my life. But if you're not willing to take care of yourself first, you're not getting our mission. You're not getting what it means to optimize ourselves and to truly be healthy. And that means consistency with everybody. And thank God the company makes it so inexpensive for us to be able to be consistent with this. I mean, if any other company had this and any other owner had what they have in their hands right here, you'd be paying $150 a pair of socks, I guarantee it. And it would still be $1 billion company because it is that important. So we have somebody with a heart, as big as the planet, that wants to help everybody, that is going to continue to make it affordable and pay it forward and continue to give back more and more to the field so that we make it easier to teach people how to keep this tech on them. As we continue to grow the business, we'll be able to have all these products and more, not only as a patch, but as clothing lines. And eventually there'll probably be multiple techs in clothing lines. And so, it's going to be such a sweet journey that we're all on. And it's going to be such an amazing day when it's just a household name and everybody gets it, like, oh yeah, like, doesn't everybody wear that? It just makes sense.
I always said that it would be so fun someday when lockdown's not on and we're in airports again. I just remember walking through airports, Doc, and you've probably done this before, and you look down at people's ankles or look down at their socks or look down at their sandals. And I said, there will be a day, God willing, that when I walk through this airport and like 3 out of every 5 people have Vox Life technology on, or walking through the airport, and less people limping, less people in the handicap line, and so on. And that's a day that I can truly see coming because of what this technology does. But one of the things we get a lot of, or we see a lot of, is that we talk about that sometimes when people put the technology on, no matter what it is, they can have an increase in symptoms of something, or increased pain, or for instance, I have somebody that wanted to look at the sleeve, the e-smarter sleeve, to help them with, sort of fibro fog type of thing. And when they put the sleeve on, they tend to feel like they have an elbow tendon pull, and they have pins and needles, so they have to take it off. What do you think may be happening there? And we've talked about, opening up old wounds, that sometimes having things happen doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It's our interpretation of it. So let's talk a little bit about maybe something that's happening, whether it's the sleeve or the socks or anything you put on, where there might be, an increase in
Sure.
some sort of symptom.
And so that's a great question. And we do get that quite a bit. And especially we've noticed lately with the new Harmony patches that are 48 hours, that within the first minute when I remap them, it's like everything lights up. And I'm like, what's going on? And everything used to calm down. Why is it all lighting up? And then Jay's like, oh, well, we had to make it more robust to last for 48 hours. So it's going to take about 15 minutes before you have the full effect on that new Harmony patch versus 7 seconds like everybody thinks. Yes, you will be able to tilt somebody and get the brainstem strong in 7 seconds, but it's going to be so much more higher efficiency in getting the brainstem open than the previous version. So when you first get into, let's say, the space shuttle and you're getting ready to take off, you got all these astronauts in there. What do they start doing? They start pushing buttons, flipping switches, lights, fans, pressure in the hoses. We're testing everything before we ignite it, just doing a systems check. And so that's exactly what the Vox does. As soon as it's on, your brain recognizes that signal as an actionable signal, not just noise to pass by through and going doing a specific thing. It's an actionable signal, which means my brainstem has to pay attention and take action. And when it does that, it does a search through the entire neural network after it imprints it back in to look for flaws, to look for issues. And so you might have an old injury in your knee all of a sudden start to ache within 20 minutes of putting it on. Like, what's this? It'll pass. Just let your body work it out. Pain is always the last thing to come and the first thing to go. And out of your entire nervous system, only 10% of the fibers you'll ever feel pain through. 10%. 90% of your nervous system is for function. So we're opening up the function by 34%. And guess what? That little 10% of pain is usually the first thing to go, because it was a warning sign saying, I need help over here. And then as soon as the nervous system has more helpers, where's it going? It's going right to the area that has the lights spinning and the sirens going like, help, we're in trouble. And so it's not always a bad experience to feel more. Sometimes that's scary for people. They don't know what it's like to experience more. They've just been suppressing what they're feeling for so long because it's been so bad. And they're trying to just suppress it all down. And all of a sudden things wake up. It can be scary for some people. And they might not really understand what they're feeling. And they might feel a little stress. But that's okay. The nervous system is doing its checks and balances. And just take a few deep breaths and go for a walk or something. Within 20 minutes, you'll have the full effect of that tech. And again, it just might not be for somebody. Somebody might just not like the compression on their arm. Myself, with the oldie smarter sleeves, when I'm playing golf, I had a hard time getting through 18 holes just because my forearm's so big and it just feels tight after a while. I couldn't get a big enough size to feel loose enough. And then they came out with the new version. I can leave this one on all day long and not bother me at all. And so each person might be a little bit more sensitive to some of the tech. That's why we try to give more options. Some people just can't keep the stickers on. And I'm a person that has very oily skin, but they stay on fine for me. But other people, they last a few hours and they pop off. So what do? Well, we can try to bandage them down, maybe, or try a sock or try a different product. Obviously we don't have a different option for sleeping. I've even had patients put their patches on the back part of their arm and then pull the sleeve over it so they're getting the tech on the inside, and then the sleeve is holding the patches on the back side all simultaneously. And so as long as the patch isn't interfering with the design of the sleeve, you're still getting all of the effect.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And one of the things that people have talked about, we've talked about it on this call before, that people tend to get a reaction. Those with sensitive skin tend to get a reaction to our patches, and my suggestion has always been, try and clean off the area as best you can with rubbing alcohol. Let it dry completely. Put the patch on, and then wear it in this prescribed position as it's prescribed on the package for the first 48 hours, or in the sleep patches case for 12 to 14 hours, depending on when you sleep, and then move the position around so you're not irritating that skin. And anybody that's ever worn a Band-Aid before in the same area, a Band-Aid will irritate your skin as well. And so I suggest that those that have sensitive skin, that was one of our questions, Doc, and I know you've answered that a lot of times, and it seems repetitious, but for the new people that join our call every week, I just want you to know that if your skin is a little more sensitive, you can move it around, and it's nothing to be alarmed about, for sure. So one of the things I want to move on to is we talk about HPT being our gateway product. It's the one that opens the main door to everything. And then we have our CBT, which is our cognitive boost technology, which is our eSmarter sleeves. Now, we talk about, the executive function in the areas of the brain. Let's talk a little bit about how the eSmarter sleeve is recognized by the HPT patch to sort of pass the baton and say, okay, this is going to help you with wearing the sleeve with depression and anxiety, and perhaps if you wear it. So let's talk a little bit about how that is achieved with the cognitive boost technology, and what part of the brain it works on.
So when we talk about the CBT, we're looking at the frontal cortex and your occipital lobe, which is the very back of your brain. So think visualization, memory, pattern recognition, and then focus, attention, speed, accuracy, decision-making, all of that's in the front. So as we mentioned, HPTs open up the brainstem. So past the brainstem, where's it going to go? It's going to go to wherever you need it the most. So let's say you're an individual that has focus problems, and that seems to be a big thing that you know you have. So you put the socks on, all of a sudden, man, I can focus better too. So what we would see on the brain map would be that the brainstem just cleared and open. There's no dysregulation there at all. And then the frontal cortex just calmed down, okay? Because the leftover went there because that's where you needed it the most. Now comes along the E-Smarter sleeve and I slide that on. Well, it's going to target the frontal and the occipital lobe only. No spillover, no go somewhere else. If that's good in that area, it just goes to that area, and it's going to help optimize that area for you. Now, if HPT, let's call that the janitor of the building, if he was in that front room, he's got the key to go anywhere. So once the E-Smarter team arrives, like a pit crew, they're like, hey, we got this frontal cortex. It's good. You can go. They need some help in the temple area. And so as soon as the next technology comes in, that's their zone, there's no need for the overflow from your brainstem to go there anymore. It's super intelligent. It's still got those leftover workers. Think of every tech you put on you, you're basically freeing up a bunch more workers in that area of your neurology. And so this E-Smarter sleeve takes over, gets your thinker going good, your decision making, your visualization, your memory, your pattern recognition, and all of that. And now that left over from the brainstem, it's going to say, you know what, we really need to do with your personality more. So whatever it is, it's going to go to that other part of your brain. And so the sleep centers of the brain, if sleep is your main issue, you're going to probably get a bunch of flow over from the brainstem into the sleep area when you're trying to sleep. You can wear the socks and absolutely sleep better every single time. And we've proven that with hundreds of maps. And so that's inevitable. Now, if we put the sleep patch on, it's going to those sleep cycle centers. Now the HPT's working on healing the body, remodeling the body, doing everything else your neurology needs the extra helpers for. So it's really a beautiful harmony when we have all the tech on at the same time, because now we have the majority of our brain targeted and being optimized. And the longer we can stay in that zone, hey, guess what? The smarter you're going to get. You're going to improve your neurology over time the longer you're wearing it. Why not improve it in all those areas? Mm-hmm. And so it really is a gift that we'll keep giving the longer you keep wearing.
Yeah, I just want to back up to that question before about, pins and needles and increased pain or whatever the situation may be. What would your suggestion to be if somebody is not being able to battle through it? Would your suggestion be just take it off, wait till those symptoms calm down and put it back on again and work through the process until and wear each time a little longer and finally it'll resolve itself?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. You can put it on, start a stopwatch. How long is it taking before I feel that discomfort? And if it is the sleeve, you can roll the sleeve down all the way to where the technology starts. So you don't have to have the band up on the ankle, or it might be on the elbow or beyond the elbow. It might just be constricting the elbow, back on your tricep nerve or something, that it might just be aggravating something as well. So make sure it's, first of all, the right size. If it's the wrong size, it's not the tech that's uncomfortable, it's the size of the tech. And so, and then we start a stopwatch. How long did it take? I made it 20 minutes, started hurting. Okay, the next day, and then I took it off. And then it stopped hurting right away. Okay, and then the next time I put it on, I went 22 minutes, or maybe I went 40 minutes. And so typically it takes about 5 days on average of playing that game of starting and stopping it to be able to put it on and then feel no pain. Again, 90% of your nervous system is for function, only 10% for pain. So if we can get the function better, the pain will get better. Okay, and so think of that. Jay says always focus on function. I couldn't agree with him more. It's not so much the tissue, it's how the tissue is functioning, right? And so if our nervous system isn't functioning right, you can expect to have a lot of symptoms. And so as we improve function, It's not about chasing this condition or that condition or what. Your body knows how to make the condition called optimal life happen if you work with your body and give it the tools.
Exactly. I mean, I know I've drawn the analogy before when I first got, progressive lenses. They were eliciting a response differently to different muscles in my eyes, and I would first wear them. I would get dizzy, and I would take them off, and I knew nothing about, nerves, central nervous system, neurology at this particular time. I just was mad because the glasses were making me dizzy and they were expensive. Yeah. So I didn't want to lose. So I kept taking them off and waited till this, the symptoms calmed down, and then I would put them back on, and eventually I could wear them full time and never got dizzy anymore. So I think it's a great thing for people on the call that if somebody has an increase in pain or an increase in issue of any kind whatsoever, that this isn't torture. There's a reason why we have a 30-day money back guarantee and not a 3-day money back guarantee, and coach them through it. Let them know that, when there is change happening, change can be very positive, even though the change may be a little bit rough. I know it's like we've talked about, Doc, you and I have talked about a kitchen before. Well, my kitchen's nice, but I want to renovate it. And then when you renovate it, there's dust and drywall stuff and everything over, and it's so messy. And it's kind of like, why did I do this? And then when the kitchen is completed, you look at it and go, oh my goodness, was that ever worth it to go through all that mess and everything in my kitchen? My new kitchen is beautiful. And so your body's kind of like that renovation when you open up the central nervous system. Would you agree?
100%. Yeah.
Now we get a lot of questions, Doc, talking about, certain diseases and certain pathologies, and we always have said on calls, but for the new people that are on here, we get questions about, how would it help with Parkinson's, or, how would it help with fibromyalgia or whatever. And let's talk a little bit about the best way for the field, especially new associates that are on here, to present to people without having to talk about diseases, because we don't claim to treat, diagnose, or cure anything with our technology.
So, it's pretty much what we just said in the last question. It's all about the function. Mm-hmm. And so we're helping people tap into certain parts of their nervous system and allow it to function better so they can finally get healed of these conditions that they're dealing with. So it's only the body that's going to heal you, period. This is going to help the healer work. It's going to help the healer be more effective at its job. It's trying really hard. There's just a lot of closed doors that it's having a hard time getting through, and a lot of miscommunication happening with the crew that does all of that work. And so, as we improve our ability for our nervous system to communicate, it really is amazing on what we can do. And yes, it has helped people with that condition and with that condition and with that condition. Go to Facebook and pull up the condition and look at some of the stories of people that had it. But we didn't give them the product telling them it was going to happen help them with that condition. That was an amazing experience that they had because their own healer inside of them finally got a breakthrough. It finally got to get past wherever it's been stuck and plateaued at. And now all of a sudden they're experiencing a better quality of life. And it happens in just seconds. It really is amazing. But we have to always give credit back to the body for doing the healing. And as soon as you start saying this will treat that condition, if you're not a doctor, you can't say that. That's compliance issues. You could be sued. The company can be sued. So we don't ever want to have language that's illustrating that we're claiming that this is going to treat anything. This affects the brain in an amazing way and allows the brain to heal the body. You can take any symptom in the body and trace it back to an irregular brainwave pattern. And so as we reprogram that brain, we're reprogramming the body to start to function differently. Again, you can use the word function in any way you want. It's all about helping the nervous system function better. Depending on which product we're talking about, it's a different part of the nervous system that we're targeting to function better. So don't use the word treat, or it's just going to create more skepticism, for one, because you know, I don't know how a lot of things work. I heard this is just a bunch of ones and zeros that come through space and it gives me all the things I need. Okay. I could see how a technology could affect a targeted part of my neurology and do something to that. I get that. But for this piece of tech to know how to help your diabetes and your heart disease and your cancer and your digestive problems, okay, you're losing me now. How does that thing know how to change and treat conditions now? Okay, it just doesn't make logical sense, and it makes us appear foolish, and their skepticism mean not skepticism, just logic. Like, how could a piece of plastic treat diabetes and do this and do that? Okay, but the brain can. Your body knows how to regulate all that. What you don't realize is it's been pumping 2,000 gallons of blood a day through your heart, regulating it pretty well for all these years, I think. And so, who are we to say that, oh, this is going to make this targeted thing happen for that condition? Okay, it's not that way. And hopefully that helps understand things just a little bit better. Always stay focused on the function.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we can, talk to people, when we're suggesting our technology is obviously to start with the HPT and let's see what happens. We know it's affecting the brainstem. It's opening the gateway to the central nervous system, and don't make promises, people. Just get them on. We have a phenomenal testimonials group on Facebook. You can just look it up, Vox Life Testimonials. There's a search engine right in the group, and you can type in and you can read anecdotal stories from people that have worn the tech to see if it would improve the function of their life in many ways. And so certain people with certain issues are just simply telling their story of what happened when they put on this technology. So don't make promises about what the tech will do or won't do. Give people an opportunity to experience it in a compliant manner. And that means, as Dr. Mark said, don't just wear it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You wear it 24/7 if you can, and journal. Journal what you're seeing, good or bad. Be there for your customer, be there for your person that you're introducing to, and let them know that you're here for them. Let them know that, you may experience this or that. We've had people that have had tremendous experiences in improvement and reduction in plantar fasciitis or whatever within literally minutes in shows and so on. But that's not, always the case for sure. So as Dr. Mark said, make sure that you don't promise that this will fix any ailment, any disease, any situation whatsoever. So thank you for that, Dr. Mark. Now let's talk just as we wrap up this call, let's talk a little bit about, how does the tech actually stimulate receptors on the feet or the arm through our different technology. Let's just talk how it codes and decodes that sequence of receptor activation.
So it deals with the haptic touch. And so your nervous system, as I mentioned before, has over 400 million bits of data from the surface of your skin going to your brain every second. And it's responsible for your first line of defense. It's making sure that you're all safe and everything's good in your environment. Now that information is then used to create 65 quadrillion chemical reactions every second, and as far as the chemistry in your body, and it's really directly related to the information coming in that I need this chemistry to be created. So when we touch a certain area, we have certain areas in your body called dermatomes, which means they're connected to, like, each level of the brain and the spine is connected to a certain part of the body. Mm-hmm. And so there are certain zones on the body that are super rich in neurology, that have a very strong impact through reflexology to different parts of the brain itself. And so once the touch is made, we determine whether it was just my clothing that I can ignore, or whether that was an actionable signal that needs to become important. And so out of those 400 million bits of data going through, a lot of it's just noise. and certain things come out of the river of information saying, oh no, this is a really important one. We need to pay attention to this. This is actionable. Like if I looked over here and there was a bear in my lobby, there would be a bunch of actions happening really fast, right? And so that trumps everything else. And now I have to run for my life or fight for my life, one of the two. And so every time we put any of the Vox technologies on us, when it touches us, it becomes an actionable signal that is deemed important, like really important. And as soon as it imprints that message back into the nervous system that this is in the house and present, amazing things happen. Okay. And so Jay and I did a call, oh gosh, a month or two ago, where the first half of the call, he just went through the science and he went through how he invented it. And he talked about the mathematical equations and how it all calculates to data being received from the nervous system periphery, how it's interpreted, and how we can, in essence, affect that interpretation. Okay, and so I'm kind of not sure I really answered your question there. There's lots of ways of saying that.
Well,
And so it's
this,
actual touch. It's not just energy, okay? It's touch, it's tactile. It's proprioceptors and mechanoreceptors that are stimulated, that deal with pressure, that deal with touch, that deal with temperature, that deal with everything else in your environment. And they're stimulated to create this response. Okay, and so it's tactile. It has to have the contact, or in the essence of the deep grooves of the design in our insoles, it has to be within millimeters of that in order to, perceive that as well too.
yeah, that question was from Dr. Chris Cameron, who is relatively new and just wants a little understanding of the tactile pattern. But
well, you can log into the practitioner side, the portal, and review some of those old podcasts, or Zoom calls that we did for the practitioners.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that just about wraps up our call. We're almost at the hour, Dr. Mark, and as usual, it's been a great session. It goes by so quick, man, and we have a lot of questions we didn't even get to. But suffice it to say, people, the best thing is get it on, people. Wear it. Instead of wearing your normal socks, wear ours and do it for 30 days. Do it for 21, 22 days. I've had great success with getting people on our technology and have them wear it in a compliant manner for like 21 to 22 days straight. And then I have them take it off for 3 days and journal the whole time. And generally before I get to the 21-day mark, they don't want to take it off if they've been compliant in the first 21 days, because whatever they're looking for the product to help with in function, they've already seen improvement in it in 21 days. So you have to be able to coach. You have to be able to make sure that people have enough product, that laundry doesn't win, that laundry doesn't grab their socks and keep them in that dirty basket for 5 days because they don't work in the laundry. A hearing aid, if you buy it,
Terry, that's what I was going to say too. I said, set yourself up for success. Just replace your whole sock drawer.
exactly.
So what, a few $100s? You've spent a few $100s on a lot of things that are gone now that'll never come back. This is investing into your neurology for the next year. If you just I walked into my kids when I first got it and did my own brain maps and saw what it was doing. I had 2 boxes and I walk in with an empty box and I said, all right, empty your sock drawer. I want them all. And they're like, no way, Dad. There's no way. I love my socks. Like, empty all your socks. Give them to me. And then they emptied their socks and obeyed me. And then I pulled out the other box that had, I don't know, a couple $1,000 worth of socks in there, every color, every size. And I says, before this goes to the office, you pick as much as you want. Any one of these, I want you to be prepared for success. Never want you to think about ever having to wear another pair of socks again. So they took maybe a dozen pairs each. But you know what? They've never worn out. They wear them just like their normal clothes. They didn't miss a beat. They get it. If it was one pair of socks that I had to wear and then wash and wear that same pair again, well, of course you're going to wear through it fast. And who wants to have the same color outfit every day? And so just prepare yourself for success. You're investing into your health of your brain and your neurology. The socks are free and they're going to be the best quality socks you've ever worn. So
Yeah,
Don't think little,
yeah,
think long-term. Do it. Go in, dive in full deep.
exactly. And we have to remember that, we're selling a technology. The socks are just the landlord. They're just the carrier. And really, I mean, if somebody, like you said, Doc, if somebody's not willing to spend, $200-300 to set themselves up to improve the functionality of their life, they really don't want it that bad, because it doesn't take very many people that long to spend $300 or $400 on stuff that's not good for them. We know that. That's easy for people to do. So as an associate, as a representative of our product, we need you guys to stand firm. We need you guys to posture. We need you guys to set yourself up for success. Trust me, selling somebody one pair of socks is not going to set you up for success, because nobody ever thought about wearing the same pair of socks 2 days in a row until they started talking to you about our technology. And as my good friend Paul Austin said, if somebody says they're going to wear one pair of socks every day, we'll ask them, would you do that if our tech was only in underwear? Right? They're not going to wear underwear for 21 days. So let's be logical. Let's be smart. Let's posture, because truly what we're trying to do is help people with the quality and function of their life. And as Dr. Mark said, if we get in that mindset of function, not treat, we're going to see a lot more success. So thank you very much, Dr. Mark. Been a real pleasure as always. I know everybody appreciates you tremendously on this call, as I do. It's great to have you on here, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody on the team training call tonight at 8:30. Just go to the Team Vaccination page. You don't need a Zoom link. Carla Archer's hosting. She's going live in StreamYard, and we have the Duplication Diva with Heather Lemke. So we're looking forward to that. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye for now.